Right, well I'm at a new venue today, a place called Tufnell's Mere in Chelmsford. The plan was to come here last week, but it was absolutely freezing cold last week and all the lakes froze, so that was a no-go. This had a complete lid on it. It's quite a big lake, probably 15 acres, but it was frozen solid, so we had to cancel the filming. So we've rebooked for today, and we've come back, and today we've been given 45, 50 mile an hour winds. So it's not been an easy ride so far to get to where we're at, and the aim was to come here, spot maggots and 10 mil boilies, which is something I've been doing lately, you know, with good success, and I wanted to sort of run through how I've been doing that. But it's so windy, and when it is windy, I don't like to spot maggots. You know, if you chuck some in the edge and watch what the wind does to them, they drift a long way off the spot, and it's something I'm not confident in doing. So I've had a bit of a change of tactics. I'm basically going to cast maggot bags around, probably of varying sizes. I'm going to start with these quite small ones, and then maybe try some bigger ones as well. So there's loads of fish in here apparently, and I think casting these bags around we should still pick a few up. So I'm going to start here. I've got one rod out already, and if nothing happens in the first probably 3 hours, I reckon I'll move, because with a large number of fish in the lake, if you're on them and you're putting bags of maggots in front of them, I'd be very surprised if they were going to be sat there ignoring them. I think if I'm not getting bites, I'm not on the fish, and it's time to move elsewhere. So got one rod out, and tie this little bag off, get the second rod out. Right, well, I'm stood staring across to the, it's a swim basically. I sort of nearly went in this morning. I stood in there for a little while, but because it's sort of right up the end of the lake, I thought, nah, we'll go in the middle section where there's probably more fish. But it's absolutely freezing in my swim. It's really hard to cast. Everything's a bit, you know, it's trouble really. So I'm having a little eye up of that swim over there, so I think that's probably where I'll go next, because it's flat around there. The wind, sort of out the wind, it's probably quite warm and all. So I might pop over and have a little look in, because it does look good around there, and I'm freezing. I'm going to go for the move. It's horrible around here, the wind's getting really strong and it's quite hard to fish sort of effectively, so I can barely cast. I'm going to move around to the area I had a look at earlier on. It looks lovely around there. The wind is blowing down there, but there's loads of snags and there's sort of flat water off the edge of the snag. Oh, what's that? Oh, I got one, I think. Well, what was I saying? Literally just saying I was going to move, and the other rod has just gone. Don't know what this is. It's not doing a lot. It feels a bit like a bream. No, I hope it ain't a bream. It is the worst possible option. Right, so yeah, I'm going to have a move basically. I'm going to unhook this bream, and I'm going to move into that other corner. But it's much easier to cast around here because of the lack of wind. Basically, I'm just clipping a lead up to the face of these bushes over there. Probably about 5-6 foot, I reckon. It looks good. It's got a few carp tucked away, and there's loads of water behind the trees as well. So if there's any depth around there, there'll be carp in there, I'm sure of that. You might notice when I'm tying the bags, I'm leaving like a tag end. Basically that's so I can nick the hook through, pass it around the back of the shank of the hook, and that traps the hair in place, which means when I've got the bag on, when I cast it out there, the hair doesn't tangle. Nice little trick. Just had an absolutely savage take on the right hand rod. I was just on the phone to my mate Rob, telling him about how depressed I was, weren't catching nothing. And yeah, rod fish tight to them snags. Absolutely melted. Got him. I'm pleased with that. Starting to worry I might blank. Right, I have to strain myself to lift this one. Oh, here we go. That's got to be all of about 5 or 6 pounds, so not quite what we're after, but it's a carp in January on a quite horrible day. So I'm going to get the rod straight back out and hopefully we'll catch a bigger one than this. But for now, it certainly do. Right, I'm down to one rod. That's a decision I've made myself. So I've reeled what was the left-hand rod in, and I've put the right-hand rod, which is the one I caught the fish on. I put that back out. That's how they're absolutely perfect. And I put a few pouchfuls of 10mm boilies over the top of that as well. So the left-hand rod, I reeled it in basically because I've got 2 rods tight to snags. Otherwise, if one rod goes, then the other rod could get snagged up. So I've reeled that rod in. I'm just cooking some food. I'm going to eat that, and then I'll probably run you through the rig, unless I catch one in the meantime. Well, I said I was burning my chicken steaks, and I definitely am now because they're still on the Coleman and I've just had a take. Oh no, it took me 15 minutes to get them perfect. Well, attempt to get them perfect, but fish on, so happy days. I think this is absolutely tiny, this one. It looks about 4 pounds. Well, at least we're not blanking. Oh, he's in. Right, I'm going to rescue my food. Yummy. Do you like barbecue sauce? Well, here he is. Tiny little fella, this one. He's probably 4 or 5 pounds. But ate my sandwich, that was nice, a little bit burnt. But this is going to be the last fish of the day, so I've reeled the rod in. I'm going to call it quits. It's absolutely freezing the water, you know, so I'm pleased to have had a couple of bites. And then I'm going to run you through the rig. And although I've only caught a couple of little ones on it today, I've caught some big fish on it of late. So I'm going to run you through that, and yeah, we'll finish there. Right, so this is the rig. Now basically I've been using this since about sort of the end of October, early November, and basically I wanted a rig that was a pop-up rig, but was fished with a small pop-up. It could be sort of attached to a PVA bag, cast out together, and still sort of perform well. So I wanted a nice low pop-up. That's probably about, you know, from the shot to the bait, it's probably about 1 inch. So it's nice and low. Like I say, you can hook a bag of maggots on that perfectly. It lands straight almost every time. And I've caught loads of fish on it. You know, I've had 22 fish on this rig sort of throughout the winter time, and I've landed all 22. So that's always the most important thing for me with a rig, is sort of hook to landed ratio. And I've used it at all sorts of different lakes, different size fish. I've had some big fish on it, and I've had, you know, like today I've caught small fish on it as well. So I've tested it thoroughly, different places, and it hasn't let me down yet. So 22 out of 22 is about as good as you can hope for. So, well, there's one part of this rig that's important to me, and that's derived from the bottom bait presentation I use all the time, and that's the liner. So without it, the hook doesn't turn very well at all when you pull it across your hand, and with it, every single time it spins around and the hook point grabs. And that's really important to me. It's exactly the same for a bottom bait rig as a pop-up. I want it spinning around and grabbing the bottom lip. And that little addition, I think, makes all the difference with this rig. And there's no doubt sort of playing a big part in why the hook to landing ratio has been so good. So I've got a small shot beneath that. That's just to sink the bait slowly. Bit of putty in the middle, just to, you know, pin the rig down. And then a loop at the end, and that's attached to my helicopter lead system with a quick chain swivel. So rig comes on and off nice and easy between leading around and stuff like that. So that is the rig in all its glory, nice and easy to tie. But for now, I'm going to get going. The weather's getting worse and worse, and I'm done.